Chapter, The One Who Gathers Death. There are originally 9 swords in the infernal heaven's demonic art, the heavenly demon commented after seeing me in battle. The sword of starvation, the sword that you showed, is just the first form. You know this. Yes. After the way of starvation is the way of dehydration. The way of dehydration. So it's death from thirst. Yes. Child of the outside world. You demonstrated the sword of starvation very well. So, if you devote yourself to training, you will get good. Wait just a moment. Chuck. I raised my hand. Please wait. I felt sorry, but I couldn't endure it without raising my hand. The person sitting cross-legged in front of me was about to go over a wall as if it were nothing, but the wall seemed very high to me. What is it? What did you say just now? Good enough? The heavenly demon closed her mouth. Huh, that's weird. I thought I did pretty well. But it was barely good enough for the heavenly demon. Oh. I'm sorry. Suddenly, my self-esteem is disappearing and I'm losing my confidence. I think I'm losing my nerve. You. The heavenly demon's mouth wiggled. Fine, I'll admit it. You demonstrated the sword of starvation skillfully. Don't be impudent and go around saying that the infernal heaven's demonic art isn't much. Excuse me? What did you say? I did it, skillfully? Are you going to harass the great me with wordplay? The heavenly demon said. It seems like you will only be satisfied if I bow my head to you. You're truly a child who doesn't know when to stop. Why don't you be the teacher? I myself will be your disciple. Okay. She nibbled. I acted casually like a fisherman. Oh, does that mean you recognize me as a disciple, right? Heavenly demon Nim? Not an outsider but an inside disciple of the sect. The real, authentic, best disciple. The heavenly demon was again at a loss for words. 1 second. 2 seconds. After a small pause, her mouth slowly opened. Refrain from making other sounds. Child. Since I will be teaching you from now on, you must concentrate. Just as I thought. The heavenly demon just forced herself to ignore my words. Force comes from stubbornness, and stubbornness comes from sincerity. I could tell where her sincerity stopped. She really won't admit that I'm her disciple even if she were to die. The relationship between an older and younger member of the same sect. The heavenly demon had already marked me as a disciple. Nevertheless, adamantly, she never said these words, I shall accept you as the disciple of this master, out loud. Though the Sword Emperor and I bickered often, for the heavenly demon, that is, for most martial artists, the connection between a teacher and student was that heavy. A heavy connection can sometimes turn into a terrifying connection. Therefore, the demonic cult woman did not declare me as her disciple. She was hesitating. What kind of person was I? Not only did she see me for the first time in her life, but I was also not from the central area of this Murim world. Should such a child, be allowed into her heart? Can she have more hope in her life? So Baekhyang, the master of the demonic cult and the heavenly demon, was conflicted, and so she was hesitant. Listen carefully. If you have learned the sword of starvation to that level, you are at least entitled to listen and steal the teachings of the sect. But, although her outer appearance was being unreasonable, inside, it was perfect. Character window. The inner mind reflected in my eyes told a completely different story. Plus. Name, So Baekhyang. Favorability, 51. Favorite genre, martial arts. Hated genres, classical, mythology, history, fairy tales. Favorite characters, commoners, rival. Hated characters, oppressor, deceiver, playboy. Favorite plot, all-out match. Hated plot, running away, oblivion, meaningless death. Psychological state, is he a disciple? The time to make up my mind is also. No. It's a bad idea. I should be content by facing off with Namgungan. It is too much to have a disciple now at the end of my life. It is an ugly desire. Plus. That's right. I smiled in my heart. Please consider it more. The heavenly demon's troubles. They were like a green light for me. Please be more shaken. Because I was the one who presented her with a crossroads. Will the Muram Lord and she continue the war of good and evil without hope? Or will she take a disciple and take the measures to continue the doctrine of the demonic sect to the next generation? Which way would she escape the meaningless death? Please don't let go of your life like this. My words were light. They were in vain. Light words could only be responsible for light-hearted people. No, it was like they weren't taking responsibility at all. Please live. How empty those words were. Even if the world perishes and you are left alone in this world, I still want you to live. I wish you will survive. No matter how many words I pile up, they didn't carry any weight. I want to be your reason to live a little longer. Useless and vain words. I didn't say them out loud. I was sure that it was for the same reason that the heavenly demon didn't declare me as her disciple. The lightness of words is bound to be weighed down by the heaviness of one's actions. That way, it won't fly away like a whim. But the heavenly demon and I both still haven't tried hard enough to say what we wanted to say. It's not the time to decide yet. The heavenly demon thought in her heart. I haven't come up with a decision yet. I thought to myself. The heavenly demon and I faced each other. Child of the outside world. You don't look focused. Are you listening to me? Yes. I was watching well. Of course I am focusing. What do you mean? It's not a joke. I'm serious. Of course. I swear to anyone, whether it is the Jade Emperor or King Yomra the Great. We exchanged glances. Unlike her hands, her eyes were conflicted. They do say that the eyes are the windows to the soul. The heavenly demon opened her mouth after going back and forth several times. Fine. Seeing that you are overflowing with confidence, you can take the next test right away. The heavenly demon brushed away the snow and stood up. She started heading somewhere. Do not follow me. My feet are busy. Saying so, she left. The heavenly demon walked on the snowy field, but there were no footprints left in the snow. Only a thin shadow slid over the icy path. Extreme Qigong skill, traceless snow road. The woman was demonstrating what she talked about on the first day after we fell into this world. Suddenly. I want to fight her. Bei Hurayong said abruptly. I want to have a match with her, even if it's just one match. Really? I thoughtlessly turned to face him. What? Did you get salt in your ear? I said I want to have a round with her. A contest. For me, it was the first time I had seen Bei Hurayong look like that. Fuck. Damn it. Shh. *T. The Sword Emperor was truly angry. Know this, zombie. In the Muram world where I was born, the demonic sect was extremely weak. The only use for those demonic henchmen was to hit them. There was a guy who called himself the Heavenly Demon, but I planted his asshole in the ground and changed his nameplate to the Earthly Demon. Fuck. I challenged and changed the names of hundreds of so-called strong warriors. Ack. Really? Something was different. His current expression didn't resemble anything like the times when he lost a bet to me. Then, he writhed around, saying that he was angry. But the expression Bei Hu Ryung was making right now was, I'm really jealous of that Murim Lord bastard who was born here. It was much more intense. What if it was me, huh? We'd have a fight with our lives on the line. We'd say, oh, will this be your death or mine? After that, we'd climb up a snow peak and have a bowl of rice wine. Chewing on a segment of a tangerine, it'd be satisfying. That's the perfect meaning that all warriors search for. Wanting to win. The spirit of victory. Fighting spirit. His face became as fresh as raw meat. Really? If only I wasn't a ghost. I silently kept my mouth shut. Without meaning to, I had also begun to worry. My head still down, I put my chin on my hand. My head was filled with thoughts, so I needed to support it with my hands. Huh? Zombie. You look like a zombie that's wondering why nobody is calling them a zombie. You're sulking because I called you a crow-tit, huh? Hey, should I just call you a zomtit? That's it. Huh? I'm saying that's it. I quickly raised my head. Say the boss makes a cure for the infection. Say that I'm recognized as an official disciple of the heavenly demon. That's good. Everything is good, but I felt that alone won't be enough. Can we call it a finale? But you just gave me the cherry on top. Nice play. Good job, Sword Emperor. I laughed. For some reason, the Sword Emperor looked at me and stepped back. What's wrong? Nothing. Just. Every time you put on that expression, it's like an ill omen for me. Should I say that it's unlucky? Because something will stain my face and stature. But I respect Sword Emperor Nim so much, from the bottom of my heart. You know that, right? Thank you. Are you trying to make me throw up on your face? I put my hands behind my back and stared at the faraway sky. There was an unpaid debt between us. Bei Hu Ryung hesitated. Debt? What debt? I am a human being who has never lived in debt my entire life. Oi, this Gongja kid is trying to trick me with his gob again. Don't do that. Huh. You'll get hurt like that. Let's bet how many times I'll die when climbing up to the 19th floor. Our Sword Emperor Nim bet that I would die less than 100 times. I bet that I'd die less than 99 times. No. Right? My smile became a little kinder. No, that was already a long time ago. If my memory is correct, then regarding this bet, the conclusion clearly ended with number 97? If my calculations aren't off, 97 is less than 99. Right? Sword Emperor Nim. Why do you keep doing this to me? Please listen to one request. Bei Hu Ryung looked as if he would cry. Fine, you evil bastard. Beat me up or kill me yourself. It was a complete surrender. The heavenly demon came back. She had left alone when she crossed the snowfield, but not when she returned. She carried a zombie on her back. Like the Hadouken zombie, this zombie wore a black uniform. In our sect, there is a group of elite members called the Bloody Ghosts. It is the best combat unit made by collecting only the greatest swordsmen and lancers. They are people who exist only to fulfill my orders. In other words, it was my second opponent. I readied my stance with the holy sword. The last time it was a promising master, and this time, it's someone from an actual combat unit? The difficulty level is jumping higher. Don't worry. I took care to bring a child that would suit your level. The heavenly demon probably did go looking for the perfect opponent for me. She must have searched the snowfield, going through hundreds of zombies, one by one. It was a thoughtful consideration. It was a heartfelt gesture. I gratefully accepted this as a kind of compliment. What you have to demonstrate is no different than from this morning. Fight the Jiangshi. With only thirst in my heart. Only the pain of thirst should be in that place. The heavenly demon smiled. That's right. No emotions or thoughts other than thirst are allowed in your psyche. All right. I dashed forward, excited. I'll show you something amazing, Aga. You have died. You are regressing to 24 hours ago. It's ridiculously strong. Damn it. I did show something. The fastest death scene in the universe. Alchemist. Medicine King. The research for the zombie virus treatment should proceed like this. Oh my God. It's just like my research. No, it's like my research was organized and arranged like a bouquet commissioned by an aristocrat. And it feels like it's been put in a formal dress like an earl. What is this? Death King or whoever you are you also from Silicon Valley? This is exactly the way I'd arrange things. First of all, we had to update the findings of the treatment research as we did every time. 100 Ghosts Reincarnation. This time, I decided to shut myself in on top of a snowy mountain to do some close training. Like last time, I ordered Preta and the skeletons to collect more deaths. Although it was different in that I told them to find corpses that died of thirst rather than hunger, the order was not very different. Scatter. Scatter and gather thirsty corpses. Yes, my lord. As you command. However, I have one more thing to ask of you. This is where it began to deviate from the last time. Preta tilted her head. If it's an order, there will be Jiangshi that use martial arts in the vicinity that are alone. I wasn't referring to the forest of corpses that we saw as soon as we fell into this world. During the last 3 years, the heavenly demon and the Murim lord fought their battles, and they lost bodies, Jiangshi, one by one during the war. When the blizzard blew for days without a break. When a day didn't come because the night was getting longer. At that time, the power of the demonic cult and the righteous sect gradually walked away and disappeared. These missing people were the ones I was talking about right now. Find them. I said. Find the demonic cult members in their black uniforms. Find the chivalrous fighters in their white uniforms. Whether it's 100 or 300 li away, you must release the skeletons and find them. No. Make a map and put a mark wherever the Jiangshi are located. Preta looked puzzled. What are you trying to save those lives for, my lord? It's a dying world, but there are 2 people who are still at war. They want the right conclusion to their fight and the world. Unfortunately, however I look at it, it's just a sad game of pretend to me. I looked up at the night sky. The moon was out. They want to see a good conclusion, so I'll prepare for a real war. A real war? That's right. I smiled, the expression slipping out of me by itself. I felt like Santa preparing a Christmas present. I will prepare for a proper war between good and evil. Chapter 76. When I first tried to learn the sword of starvation. What? The heavenly demon was disappointed. You mean that the longest you've ever starved was for only 3 days? She didn't notice my efforts. She gave up on me. She felt resigned. She only looked at me swing my sword for a little while. Then, she easily turned around and left. I see that this isn't getting through to you. How can you awaken the infernal heaven's demonic art if you don't even know this? The heavenly demon tried to make me give up on my own. Because there was nothing she expected from this world anymore. Because she felt there shouldn't be. It's fine. This was my fault. That's what happened when I was learning hunger. But when I started to learn thirst, her attitude changed completely. Your sword is too simple, said the heavenly demon as she watched me fight the Jiangshi. I felt that the way her eyes looked at me was gradually changing. Sometimes I fumbled with my sword, and even though the heavenly demon frowned, she didn't turn her back on me. Rather, she gave me advice. I can't find a skillful use of it in your sword. There is no application. It's honest and upright, but it's just as vulnerable. The heavenly demon was beginning to place her hopes on me as a human. It's like your sword is not fighting against humans, but against the world. It is not a sword of our school, but a sword of the righteous sect. It's rather unexpected. At first, I was also killed in a single blow by a martial arts knowing zombie. But as time passed, I was able to easily deal with the martial arts practitioner zombies. It was natural. Because every night, I was killed by the Jiangshi that Preta brought to me. The more I went through the trauma of the corpses who died of thirst, the stronger my sword became. I shall teach you the core of our Simjial. When my sword became somewhat stronger, the heavenly demon finally began to teach me. Simjial? What's that? It's a trade secret, the key to our methods. I see that it's not easy to talk to a child of the outside world. The heavenly demon hemmed and cleared her throat. Think of the time when you learned the sword of starvation. What did you think of when you swung your sword? I thought of starvation. Of course you did. But it's not just that. You may not have realized it, but you've already penetrated the essence of the demonic arts. The essence of the demonic arts. I shall tell you what that is from now on. We sat face to face in the snowfield. Now, think of an apple. If it's an apple. Like, an apple you can eat? 1. An apple to eat. I imagined one apple as I was told. Are you thinking about it? Yes. How does the apple feel? What? The heavenly demon's question was weird. How does the apple feel? I didn't really have an apple in my hand. How could I tell how it felt? I was puzzled. The heavenly demon looked closely at my face. You don't know? If I force it, I can probably imagine. That's fine. If you don't know, say you don't know. Yes. I have no idea. The heavenly demon smiled. The woman seemed to be rejoicing. You're honest. Good. Now, think of hunger. I thought of the pickaxe that the farmer relentlessly struck into the dry land. I remembered the gesture of him hitting his child. The children dug up the soft soil along the river and made tagua. Did you think of it? The heavenly demon whispered. Yes. I recalled it. How does the hunger feel? The crackling dirt in my teeth as I ate the mud cookies. The flavor. The crunchy texture. It's very dry. What is the scent of hunger? It's the smell of soil. Oh ho. What kind of soil is it? There are many types of soil. There is a separate soil for farming and a separate soil for making pottery. There is black soil and red soil. I'm curious. What is the soil of hunger? It's mud, I said with my eyes closed. But you can't just scoop any old mud. It has to be mud with little gravel and no sand. I see. I understand. How does hunger taste? Child. The heavenly demon's voice softened. I asked what the taste of hunger was. Why haven't you answered right away? Because it's sad, I said. The kids dry the mud cookies in the sun. While they're drying up in the sun, there is nothing to do, so the kids stay by the mud, waiting for the mud to dry. They are the children waiting for the sunlight. Yes. Hunger is children waiting for the sun. That's right. That was what happened. Child. That is your poem. The heavenly demon's voice fell like the austere snow. When I asked you to describe the touch of an apple, you replied that you do not know. But when I asked you about hunger, you felt the mud. You could smell the mud. You chewed the mud and ate it. You have seen the flowing river, and you must have overheard the sounds of the river. An old man's last voyage. The wooden boat. The night sky. A loner who tried not to cause trouble for the world but eventually became a nuisance nonetheless. An apple has a form, but there is no hunger. An apple can be tasted, but it is void of hunger. But you talk well about hunger. Hunger for you is mud, sunlight, river water, and children. Child. That right there is your talent, the heavenly demon said. Now open your eyes. I opened them. The heavenly demon was moving her hands while sitting. The reason you don't know the texture of an apple is simple. Because it did not stimulate your memory. My memory. If you've ever eaten an apple, you will know. The heavenly demon moved her hand with a smile. In a moment, I was able to recognize it. The heavenly demon was pretending to cut an apple in half. Apples have soft skin. It's shiny, but it's also a little bumpy. I myself usually like to eat apples with the skin, but it will be different for a child with a cold. I would cut it in half. It really seemed like an apple was in her hand. Carve it out with a spoon. Feed the apple scraped off with a spoon to the sick child. Have you ever eaten scraped apples as a child? I had. I remembered a teacher at the orphanage doing that. The teacher made me lie down because I had a cold and fed me an apple scraped out with a spoon. What is the texture of the scraped apple? It's a little grainy. Correct. The originally crunchy apple has already been chewed on by the spoon, and it becomes grainy. But is that all? Has it become tasteless? No. The yellow juice is filling up my mouth. Yes. And is that all? If you scrape the peel, too, the remaining apple peel becomes ridiculously wrinkled. The hand of the mother who dug the apple for you also becomes yellow from the juice of the apple. But then, say, child. What among these feelings is the feeling of the apple? I was stuck in my own thoughts. The heavenly demon asked me as if trying to make me hurry. Is it an apple as a whole? Is it an apple cut in half? Is it the scraped juice of a spoon? Is it the peel? Is it the mother's hand? What is your apple? What is my apple? I saw a mother who only ate the peel after giving all the flesh of the apple to her child. To me, an apple is the leftover peels for the mother. It is a child with a cold. It is the mother's heart that has been sharpened one spoonful at a time. For some reason, my heart became warm. Even though we were sitting in the middle of a snowy field. Maybe it was because the heavenly demon had smiled. And I also think of those young children whose mothers never carved an apple for them. But the heavenly demon's smile did not last long. I think of a mother who cannot buy apples. I think a mother who would not buy one even though she has the means. I think of a child who has no one to care for him even though he is lying on his back. I think of a child who died because he could not be cared for. Her anger manifested in a poisonous gas. The heavenly demon's black eyes somehow looked even darker. There is nowhere in this world that has not been touched by human memories, and thus, there is no place in this world without resentment. I felt sick. There is no form in hunger. There is no taste. There is no scent. Wrong. Hunger is mud, a river, and a child. Even a single apple is hunger. Child. As you use mud for hunger, do so for thirst. Feel the pain of the thirst in your throat. Sense it. Fill yourself with its taste. Smell its scent. Eat it. Touch it. The demonic arts are memories. Memory is also a sense. This is the key to our sex methods. The feeling of scooping out mud, the feeling that you capture in your hand, is your hunger, your infernal heaven's demonic art. The back of my neck was cold. Cool electricity flowed through my body. If some folks have suffered unfair things, that's all. They can't speak. They can't let go. Unable to express themselves, the resentment continues to accumulate in the mind, and eventually, it solidifies into bitterness. However, the warriors of our demonic cult are different. The heavenly demon looked at me. We swing our swords. I grabbed the grip of the sword without thinking. As a geisha sings and a scholar recites a poem, we swing our swords. What is the difference between a ruffian from a band of thieves and a warrior from our sect? They are swung by the sword. But we swing the sword. It's just that, and that difference is everything. My training began. If you just live, taking what you're given, how can you call that a life? That is death. Can you call a sword that swings you as you swing it a sword? It is a beast. Do you want to die? Do you want to become a beast? No. I bit my molars firmly. I am a living human. If so, become thirsty. Become thirsty as you did when you hungered. I had gathered 112 people who had died of starvation. Among them was a child who ate mud cookies. I bit a grain of dirt in my mouth. Suffering. Infernal heaven's demonic art. First form. Sword of starvation. You have found the mud of hunger. Now you will have to find something of thirst. For you, hunger was the children waiting for the sun. What is thirst for you? I gathered 48 people who died of thirst. Among them, there was an old woman who drank seawater and kept drinking. Her innards were pickled in salt water. Suffering. Infernal heaven's demonic art. Second form. Sword of thirst. For you, hunger was mud and thirst was the sea. But is thirst the only pain the sea brings about? There is also the pain of drowning in the seawater. There is the pain of drowning in the river. Child, what is water to you? I gathered 37 people who died from drowning. Among them was a father who gave his child his last breath. As he sank into the water, he shared his breath with his mouth. Suffering. Infernal heaven's demonic art. Third form. Sword of the drowned. Hunger is dirt. Thirst is a wave. For you, choking is a father's last breath. The land, the sea, and the air are already yours. Child of the outside world. What is winter for you? I gathered 96 people who died of the cold. Among them, there was a newborn child who was stuck to the body of an already dead mother, up until the very end. He held on to the body tightly until he froze. Suffering. Infernal heaven's demonic art. Fourth form. Sword of freezing. The dawn passed. The morning passed. Midday passed. While the world passed through a day, I had experienced 293 deaths. Child. Your sword. The heavenly demon slowly opened her lips. Really, it's ever-changing. The way the heavenly demon looked at me had also changed. People have different tendencies. Martial arts comes out of the different tendencies in one's life. These habits that cannot be fixed. The infernal heaven's demonic art is especially like that, but you are diverse. You're rich in different tendencies. I often hear that I have a variety of styles. I'm sorry. Was that nonsense? No. It was bullsh*t. You're talking a little bit seriously. To be honest, it was a pile of bullsh*t. Was that so? Was it a pile of bullsh*t? If it's a pile of bullsh*t, I can't help it. It is difficult for humans to know all the pain in the world. And even if they know it, to endure all the pain to its limits. It's very hard. But as I watch you learn the infernal heaven's demonic art, it's... The heavenly demon furrowed her eyebrows. She turned her head. Someone is coming. Someone was approaching from the direction of her gaze. It was still broad daylight, so it couldn't have been a zombie, and because it was a world that had already been destroyed, it couldn't be an unwelcome visitor. It was the Murim Lord and the venomous snake. The venomous snake was carrying the Murim Lord over the snowfield. The heavenly demon's nose twitched. What's this old dotard here for? In that pathetic way, no less? Ha! Did you finally accept that you're just an old fogey? Shut up, the Murim Lord said while on the back of the venomous snake. I came because I was worried about you. Humph. Worry? You were worried? Even a juncture passing by would laugh. You're weaker than me, old fool, so don't think you're in the position to worry about. Madhu. You haven't even done the ceremony of 9 salutes yet, huh? Ha. It's obvious. I knew you would be like this. The heavenly demon closed her mouth tightly. In my mind, I was tilting my head confusedly. What is the ceremony of 9 salutes? It's the ceremony used in formalizing a relationship between a master and disciple. Bei Hurayong said. The specifics are slightly different for each sect. There are places where you perform a deep bow 9 times and there are places where you bow only 3 times. I don't know how it is in the demonic cult. It's a secret and sacred ceremony. How was it at your sect? Well, if you endure after being hit by the teacher 9 times, that was the ceremony of 9 salutes for us. I endured up to my 63rd hit, so it was the longest record in my sect's history. Isn't that awesome? I realized why Bei Hurayong was such a crazy guy. His righteous sect just made a bunch of madmen. Shut up. I myself will decide who to accept as disciples and when, the heavenly demon said. It's not a matter for you to interfere in. You're just talking vainly now. Of course I have to interfere. The Murim Lord came down from the venomous snake's back with a thump. The old man stared at the heavenly demon fiercely. Because the reason you don't take in disciples is that you feel sorry for me. Hou? What are you saying? It's just the 2 of us left. You are the only one on the path of evil, and I am the only one on the path of righteousness. If you alone take in a disciple, the only young people will be in the demonic cult. So what is the conclusion? It's like you're winning the war between good and evil without even fighting. You and I have agreed to end this ourselves. We swore. Because you feel bad about breaking our oath and you feel sorry for me, you're not accepting that young child as your disciple. Huh. I guess that's right. It could also be that sort of reason. They're in the same situation, but it would be weird if only one of them had a disciple. Looking at the feelings of the heavenly demons, it seemed that she did feel sorry for the Murim Lord. But... Tsk. There's no need to be so uselessly loyal. I thought you would do this, so I took the initiative. The Murim Lord tapped the venomous snake on the shoulder. The venomous snake scratched his cheek with a bitter smile. Well. It ended up like this. The heavenly demon's eyes widened. Oh, old man. You couldn't possibly have that kid. That's right. I made him my top disciple today. You bastard, you think it's all right to do this to my great self? The heavenly demon rushed at him. Boom, boom. Two masters rolled around in the snow in a dogfight. Do you know what kind of heart I had, not going forth with the ceremony today? But this old man ignored the young, devoted heart of my great self as if it was nothing. Shut up. If fate comes to find you, thank your departed parents in heaven and accept it. A person can't just ignore it because they're being too conscious of others. What about the great battle of good and evil? Does it have to be just the two of us for it to be the battle? If our disciples fight, it can also be considered as the great battle. I can't accept it unless you're my opponent. For a demon lord, you sure have some idiotic thoughts. What did you say? The woman grabbed the old man's neck. The old man, unwilling to lose, grabbed the woman's head and glared. Ack, you demon. You're always like this. If it's not one thing, it's the other. You rockhead. You think the world will split apart just because we split our positions? I don't know what sort of world you see, but the landscape I see is ice. Anyway, it will split if you split it. Then melt it. There is a fire called the demonic path that will melt it. And the demonic cult members are the firewood. Then get one more log for the fire. Axe saint, you. You hypocrite of the righteous path, you're just grabbing the ends of my words to fight me. There was such an argument between the old man and the woman. Whenever the two traded blows, two different worlds clashed with each other with the sound of metal. Worlds were able to establish themselves even in this endless dogfight. Leaving the two worlds to fight, I looked at the venomous snake. It's a little surprising. What are you talking about? How did someone like you, with your true self, take someone as a teacher? Was not something that I could say to him right away. So I beat around the bush a little. Aren't you the Chenmumun master? Is it okay for the guild master to receive tutelage from a new teacher? Fuck. If you have a place to do a sword dance, you do the sword dance, and if you have a teacher to learn from, you ask to learn. I can't just sit back for each of these things, picking at why. The venomous snake smiled. The thick lines of his face held a manly kind of smile. Huh. Venomous snake nim. What? I'll tell you clearly. Being pushed into this position by force or by mere pity. You'll regret it if you were to be a disciple of the Murim Lord with such a half-hearted resolution. The two worlds were still fighting loudly. It was different from the time that the venomous snake was pushed into the chronicles of the heavenly demon by his pride and his followers. This was an insult to those two worlds. I couldn't forgive it. I really don't know what you're talking about. The venomous snake scratched his cheek, then sharply raised his single eye. Hey, why is the guy called the Death King rambling about this so much? If you want to confirm something, confirm it with your sword. With that, the venomous snake raised his sword. It won't be easy, though. But there was an easy way to check. It would become apparent if I opened up the venomous snake's psychological status window. But instead of doing that, I said quietly, "Venomous snake Nim.
Yeah.
Have you ever been hungry?" The venomous snake blinked. What? At that moment, I ran forward. Chapter 77. I rushed at him. I raised my sword. I stabbed and cut. Infernal heaven's demonic art. First form. Sword of starvation. My body became that of a hungry farmer. My sword became a pickaxe. Struck by my blade, the air crumbled like dried mud. At the end of the smashed, shattered, and broken void was the head of the venomous snake. What? The venomous snake flinched. His gaze was stained with shock. The venomous snake's shoulder was about to move, but it stopped, and in the next moment, his hips moved. He had given up on a counterattack and was now trying to dodge. But there was no way that a farmer's pickaxe would not strike the land. My sword dug into the void. The venomous snake pulled himself back. The void sucked in his body's worth of air, breaking the atmosphere. Bang! The snow whirled around with the sound of the air cracking and bursting. It was winter. Every time the wind blew, the snow did too, and the air that scratched one's nostrils was extremely dry. Fuck! The venomous snake raised his sword. Between the flurries of snow, the venomous snake's eye flashed. There was a shock in the lone eye of the Chenmumun master. What is this? I rushed at him. Once again, I raised my sword. I stabbed and cut. Ho! The venomous snake again jumped back instead of blocking my sword. Holy! Shh! *T. And with an explosive bang, ice pellets rose in the air. Fuckin', whenever I cut, the venomous snake escaped. He had no choice but to avoid it. Son of a gun! A whirlwind burst in his place. Motherfucker! As I ran at him again, I stopped. To be precise, my body came to a stop abruptly. I wasn't breathing. I hadn't realized it. Huff. As I inhaled, dry air hit my throat. There was a tornado raging in my lungs.
Whoo!
I felt as if my intestines had flipped over. Ha! Every time I breathed, my body hurt and I trembled. But I did not let go of my sword. 1 round. The battle was over in 1 round. Infection, it was obvious that you would get it. The venomous snake stared at me in a cold sweat. Death King, I thought you were just talking. Shh! *T. But your sword skills are also quite good. Fuck. Really, what the hell? These blows can be summed up as a petty demonic sword. Yes, disciple. That indeed is a sword where you can feel the force of the devil that freezes and shatters the world. It is the eternal demon sword, cried the Murim Lord, who was grappling with the heavenly demon. There must be an insurmountable, fourth-dimensional wall that could not be crossed between the petty demonic sword that the venomous snake said and the eternal demon sword that the Murim Lord was talking about, but that wall could not be noticed unless one was a mind reader. The heavenly demon also did not realize that the wall was there. She clicked her tongue. You're pretty sharp for a guy with only 1 eye. Of course. It's unfortunate that he's a little old, but he has a true eye that sees the essence of things. Otherwise, would this axe-saint accept him as a disciple? The Murim Lord shouted, glancing at me. You've also gotten a better disciple than you could have expected. It hasn't been long since he's been yours, and he's already using a terrifying demonic sword like that. The demon lord's little seed is scary enough to surpass even the 4 demon lords. I told you, I still haven't accepted him as a disciple. Confound it. Are you still saying that sort of stuff? The heavenly demon shut her mouth. That's right, I thought, breathing wildly. This isn't a fight for me to beat the venomous snake, nor a fight for the venomous snake to beat me. The purpose of this match was to make the heavenly demon accept me. In this respect, the Murim Lord and I had the same purpose. We were both trying to give the heavenly demon, who was just waiting for destruction, a future. The Murim Lord grinned. Disciple. Yes, Master. The Murim Lord shouted at the venomous snake, who answered with good spirit. From now on, I'll give you some advice. Make sure you listen. What? The heavenly demon's jaw dropped. Oh, old man. What are you doing now? Why? Do you have a problem? Didn't you say you weren't teaching that greenhorn demon? That's true, but... I mean, you're giving advice during their competition. It's rude for someone to give a hand when playing Baduk, but it's even more so when two martial artists are competing. Two. These two are martial artists? The Murim Lord laughed and stroked his beard. In my eyes, I can only see the proud successor of the righteous path and the newbie demonic cultist. Since it's a young demon, it's okay, no matter how we defeat him. So, there's no problem. The more I see this old man, he really... The Murim Lord shouted energetically. Disciple. That newbie demonic cultist, his blows may be pretty hard, but don't think he can keep up this momentum. Never get hit and keep avoiding it. Dodge, and wait for his strength to fall. Oi, Master. It's true. The venomous snake grinned. I've figured out that much a long time ago. Do you have any more practical advice? Hey. Why is your disciple talking like that? The heavenly demon ground her teeth. It was a face bursting with heat in various ways. Is that really the dignity of the last disciple of the righteous sect? Oh ho. This demon's got a problem with the way he talks? Then, do you expect children from the outside world to talk the same way as we do? Or why not? Your disciple. Oh, you said he wasn't your disciple yet. Anyway, are you worried that the noob demon will be crushed by my student who speaks that way? You. Disciple. Use the butterfly sword and the precept of life and death. You'll beat him in one round. The venomous snake's thick eyebrows wriggled. Below it, in his one eye, there was a deep realization. Sure. Is it the butterfly sword and the precept of life and death? That's right. I'd like you to also add the tricks of your everyday martial arts, but is it possible? Fuck, of course it is possible. Master. I'm the venomous snake, guild master of Chenmumun. The venomous snake blew his nose and gripped his sword with vigor. Meanwhile, I was finally able to control my breathing again. As I fixed my posture, the venomous snake whispered to me, Death King. Yes. You asked me if I had ever starved? I did. Venomous Snake Nim. Is that your martial arts? His question was as sharp as a glance from his single eye. I replied evenly, it's the imagery from the previous blow. I thought so. The venomous snake smirked. Then, he turned his head and smiled. I'll ask it another way, Death King. What do you think is martial arts? The leader of the Chenmumun asked about martial arts. It was the same as the heretic questioner discussing God, the same as Sword Saint discussing the sword, and the distant future master of the alchemy castle discussing medicine, so it was something that I had to listen to properly. I would have done the same. If I didn't meet the Sword Emperor, didn't learn demonic arts from the heavenly demon, and above all, before I read the psychological state of the Sword Emperor. I'll answer it for you. The venomous snake lowered his stance and raised his sword. Like a venomous viper ready to strike. Lift your feet. Swing your arms. Make a fist. Then, he moved. No, he flowed. It was as if the venomous snake himself had become liquid. Like water flowing from a high spot to a low spot, he flowed smoothly and gently. Right in front of me. He flowed like that, and in the next moment, bang. Martial arts means. I barely blocked the blade that soared up from the bottom to the top. Immediately, the venomous snake twisted the blade. The blade ran up against my blade, creating sparks as it did. The venomous snake straightened his sword like that. As if piercing the sky, he stood upright and slightly bent his wrist. He tilted. Then, he yelled. You beat up the little *T in front of you. The strikes poured down like rain. That's all. You little *T. A shower of blades rained on me. Damn it, bang. As soon as I blocked it. Bang. The next blow went, oh. The next blow again, damn, and the abruptly falling blade chewed down on my sword and bit it. In that instant, he widened the opening I had made. Then, swish. The burrowing blade scratched my cheek. Blood spilled. I narrowly took a few steps back. But I won't miss. The venomous snake literally followed me, curling up like a serpent. Again, a slash from the bottom to the top. Ack. As soon as I blocked it, he rose and showered down more blows upon me. Damn it. Damn. He was definitely strong. He wasn't ranked highly among hunters for nothing. This venomous snake. Oi oi, Death King. Is that all you have to show after drawing the first blood? The venomous snake snorted. The burning feeling inside me burst out not from my mouth, but from someone else's. Damn it. It was the heavenly demon. You. She bitterly yelled at me. What are you doing? It's a shower. It's water. Doesn't that sword form resemble rainwater? The heavenly demon, who had been provoked by the Murim Lord, finally couldn't keep it in any longer. The woman shouted at me with her fists clenched. What are you so afraid of? Receive it and drink. The heavenly demon was acknowledging this match. She was acknowledging that it was between me, who had become the successor to the demonic cult, and the venomous snake, who had become the successor to the righteous sect. She was accepting the fight between the two of us. This was a confrontation between the demonic cult and the righteous sect, and we were both accepted as the proxies of the heavenly demon and the Murim Lord.
Ha!
I laughed. Understood. I lifted my stance while holding the sword in reverse. Infernal Heaven's demonic art. Second form. Sword of Thirst. I blocked the pouring attacks of the venomous snake before it could start pouring. Then, as if I was drinking it upside down, I dragged it to my desired path. It spilled. It spilled to the ground. Oh. The venomous snake who had wasted a turn. And I, who had made him waste the turn. At the moment when our eyes crossed, the voices of the old man and the woman also crossed. Disciple. Use the rotten leaf earth technique. It's become wet soil.
Ha!
Then make it into a puddle. The venomous snake crouched and took a defensive posture as I simultaneously twisted my sword. Infernal Heaven's demonic art. Third form. Sword of the drowned. Very slightly, at an angle. When it's nearly horizontal, bang. Attack, bang. Make it fly, bang. Matching the venomous snake's breath, bang. When he blinks, bang. With that. For the finale, in reverse. Oof, bang. Fuck. The venomous snake ground his teeth as his flank was cut. The Murim Lord shouted. It's strong. Fall back. Follow. The heavenly demon yelled. The venomous snake retreated, following the Murim Lord's orders, and I advanced, following the voice of the heavenly demon. Infernal heaven's demonic art. Fourth form. Sword of freezing. You. The venomous snake was angered. You're a sucker for a fight, really. Venomous snake Nim is also tough. No, you're really a sucker. Were you a lollipop in a previous life, Death King? How does it stick together like this? 3. Then was venomous snake Nim a dog in your previous life? As we wondered about each other's past lives, the venomous snake and I clashed swords. A large amount of snow soared as the winter wind raged. The field became more heated, though. Break off at a good point, disciple. Hit him properly. Don't block it. Avoid it, even if you have to use the running wave. After that, use the aged earth counterstrike. Child. You can't stop, either. Avoid it. There were scars on our skins. They were increasing in number. Blood splattered, flesh flew away. Both the venomous snake and I had become caked in blood at some point. The open wounds were buried in the cold wind and quickly hardened into scars. Oh ho, Madhu, you bitch. Aren't you the one interfering in their match, now? The Murim Lord was scolding her, but he was still laughing. You're an old man with only sly serpents in your mind. The heavenly demon was telling him off, but she was laughing. Whenever the two laughs intersected, the venomous snake's sword clashed with mine. Neither I nor the venomous snake intended to kill each other. There was no intention to kill even in the war between the heavenly demon and the Murim Lord. Therefore, this was not life or death. It wasn't a fight to kill. But it was a fight that, if ended, would allow everyone to die. Huff.
Who? Ha?
I became the sword of the heavenly demon. I fought with all my power in the place of the heavenly demon, whose body had become infected and could not fight without spilling her energy all over. This was the scene that she had lost.
Ha!
The venomous snake became the sword of the Murim Lord. He ran with all his power in the place of the Murim Lord, whose whole body was infected and who could not wield an axe without breaking his spirit. This was a dream that he couldn't dream of anymore. All scenes fade. No matter how brilliant a dream was, it would one day become discolored. Humans all decay. At some point, the heavenly demon stopped talking. The woman who was called the greatest of all time in the Murim world slowly covered her face. You wicked things. A decaying genre. A decaying world. I threw it all away. I threw it away a long time ago, but it's starting again. Only people could abandon people. Only people could not abandon people. What do you want? How much time had passed? When neither I nor the venomous snake had the strength to lift our swords, our match was over. There was no winner. There was no loser, either. I put away my sword. Breathing harshly, I walked with arduous steps. I walked in the snowfield. I walked to the heavenly demon, who was standing with her face covered, and I kneeled on my throbbing knees. Heavenly demon Nim. I touched the snowfield with trembling hands. I want to become your disciple. I want to be your scene. I would like to have heavenly demon Nim as my teacher. I want to be your dream that doesn't discolor. I am called the Death King. I hope your scene leads to my scene, your dream leads to my dream, and your life leads to my life. My real name is Kim Gongja. It was a period when all sincerity was mocked. I want to support you so no one can laugh at you. Please accept me as your disciple. Please keep living. That was what I said. The sunset colored the sky. Snow was falling in the field. I am the heavenly demon, So Baek-hyang. Snowflakes fluttered in the wind for a long time before falling from the sky to the snowy field. There were countless snowflakes. And one snowflake came to rest on one woman's dark hair. The white melted in the black and flowed down. Bow to me in the ceremony of 9 salutes. The heavenly demon opened her lips. I will receive you as my last disciple. Chapter 78. The Scent of Snow. 1. Baraya, Baraya, Aga Baraya. The heart is a candle, so burn this place. These were prayers that had been handed down since ancient times. As monks chanted Amitba, the demonic cultists chanted Baraya. Baraya, Baraya, Aga Baraya. The heart is a candle, so burn this place. No one knew what Baraya meant. So Baek-hyang also didn't know. The old man who brought So Baek-hyang to the demonic cult didn't know. They memorized it without understanding. For So Baek-hyang, Baraya was a song of the people. It was a scream. Screams originally have no meaning. So, wasn't it natural that the song of the commoners also had no meaning? One could memorize it without understanding. Just like how people don't have to know much in order to scream. A person can be polite only when he learns etiquette, and he can practice justice only when he learns righteousness, but the exception is screaming. Even someone who has learned nothing could scream. Baraya. Baraya. Aga Baraya. Screaming was a commonality between people of all nations in the world. The world that So Baek-hyang looked at was screaming. I have nothing more to teach you. The old man said. It is time for you to make your appearance. Where should I go? So Baek-hyang asked. A subdued voice. She had already become mature. The 11-year-old little kid was not here. Black hair, black eyes, black uniform. The woman was as dark as a well in the night. She wanted to be hell. To become the people's hell, the woman advanced that much. Where do you want to go? To the place where people starve. So Baek-hyang replied. I want to go where the thirsty are, where there are those who are suffocating, where there are cold people, where the drug addicts are, where the ill people are, where people are punished by the government, where people burn. So Baek-hyang looked into the air. That's where I want to go. Far, far away. The sound of prayer was heard outside the main hall. The demonic cultists were bowing as they prayed. Their voices. Their trembling. Baraya, Baraya, Aga Baraya. They vibrated and traveled through the wooden floor. Then, Baek-hyang. The old man opened his mouth. You can go anywhere in this world. So Baek-hyang. 21 years old. She appeared in the Murim world. That winter, 31 martial artists, 47 court officials in the court, and 55 members of powerful families in the provinces were killed. Our sex traditions are special. The heavenly demon quietly retreated from the others. She congratulated the Murim Lord and the venomous snake. Then, she started to lead me somewhere with just the two of us. Do you know how to do the ceremony of 9 salutes? No. I don't know how. In our sect, when a disciple greets his master, he bows 9 times. The place we headed for was a cave. A cave fogged up by a hot spring. I had become used to the caves like they were my own home, but I wasn't familiar with the spot that the heavenly demon took me to. It was a place our party had never been allowed to enter. The heavenly demon walked deep into the cave.
Hmm.
The heavenly demon waved her hand. Her loose sleeve fluttered once, then candles lit up the darkness. Countless candles lit up the stalagmites and stalactites of the cave. But it doesn't end with just bowing. The master decides whether or not to accept the 9 bows. The master can demand the student to do the ceremony of 9 salutes as many times as they want, until they are satisfied. The heavenly demon grinned. To sum it up, it all depends on how I feel.
Are
Are there any other criteria? There are. The end of the tunnel. Naturally, the heart is more important than appearance. Child. The reason why the time and place are important to etiquette is simply that a person's heart is cunning and light. There was a huge library. Every time the heavenly demon took a step, candles were lit on both sides of the step. The more the candles were lit, the clearer the library's true form became. A high cave ceiling. Books and bamboo poles were stacked up to reach the ceiling. It is not easy to grasp the lightness of the heart. The heavenly demon walked. A candle lit up by her ankle. Therefore, man chooses sacred times and sacred places. He relies on the time and place. It is to hold the light heart heavy by depending on the sky and the earth. Heavenly demon Nim. This is the sect's secret martial arts storehouse, the heavenly demon said. And it's also the martial arts storehouse of the 5 noble clans and the 9 great schools. I call this place Kian Mugwin. Bei Hurayong opened his mouth. That's awesome. It's totally a treasure trove. Zombie, I'm going to look at some martial arts books. Don't mind me and do whatever you have to do. If you can, drag it out until I can read it all. The martial arts crazed Bei Hurayong ran to the books. Oh.
Yeah.
All the skills in the world are mine now. I'll get all the enlightenment, all of it. Kuhahaha. The heavenly demon was calm, unaware that there was a ghost running about in her library. When I was 21, I entered the world of martial arts. Can you guess what my first thought was when I appeared in the Murim world? I'm going to destroy all the heads of the bastard do-gooders in the righteous sect? That was my third thought. I'll prove that the demonic cult is the best. That was my second thought. The heavenly demon winked with her left eye. What I said was this. Since I was young, I really hated the word Murim. Ha! Murim is a word that reveres Mu, the martial artists. But how can there be only martial artists in our world? There are boatmen and farmers. Merchants live here, as do prostitutes. There are countless trees that make up a single forest. Each tree has a different name and a different grain, but the 9 great schools and the 5 noble clans named the forest, above all things, after the Mu. She didn't like it. Quietly, the heavenly demon muttered. So the great me decided to take away the Mu from them. To take away the Mu? I robbed them of all the martial arts texts that they worshipped like a shrine. The heavenly demon laughed raucously. The smile on her face was playful. Hoo-hoo. The face the Gonrian masters made are still clear in my head. They begged with their heads hung down for me to leave the book containing the wisdom of the cloud dragon. I am a great person. I just buried those Taoists in the ground but left their heads sticking out. And while they were watching, I wrapped up the martial arts books and left. Wow. My master has such a nice personality. It has been decades since then. Now, this is Gonrian and the shamans. It is the 4,000 Tangmun. It's the strongest family in the nation. It's the Mosin sect. Since all the martial arts in the world form a forest here, this place truly deserves to be called Murim. I would. The heavenly demon slowly sat down. I would like to receive your bows here. Will you do it? Yes. I'm not going to care about the appearance. Child of the outside world. Just bow as your body tells you to. I did. I took off my shoes and put them down. I got down on my knees. The moment that my forehead was about to touch the floor, the heavenly demon's voice flowed. Bow 9 times, but put a different heart in each bow. A different heart. The first bow should contain the heart of hunger. Do you understand? Was that so? Yes. I understand. The relationship between the master and the disciple was truly precious. In the demonic sect, this ritual was not simply about bowing 9 times. The ceremony of 9 salutes. It was no different from the infernal heaven's demonic art. Who? Slowly. I breathed in deeply. I drew a picture in the center of my heart. A farmer wielding a pickaxe. The riverside. Mud. Hunger is children waiting for the sun. I bowed. The heavenly demon nodded. She accepted my first salute. There was no lie in my hunger, so there was no fault in my bow. The stages of the demonic cult are largely divided into 4. To me, who would soon become a disciple, the heavenly demon gave an ancient lesson. The first stage is Itma, or rising demon. Rising demons are those who know how to talk about their pain. The cultists who enter our sect speak with a sword, not with words. Therefore, the rising demon is a person who knows how to speak of his pain with a sword. I bowed again. After hunger was thirst, and I pictured seawater in my heart. The second stage is Gukma, or extreme demon. The extreme demon is someone who knows how to speak of the pain of others. Therefore, the extreme demon refers to a person who can use a sword to deal with the pain of others. The heavenly demon silently accepted my second salute. I bowed again, drawing the image of the drowned father in my heart. The third stage is Talma, or elusive demon. Again, the heavenly demon nodded. She was willing to accept my third salute. The elusive demon is someone who knows how to talk about the pain of everyone. The elusive demon can walk down the street and easily feel what makes the person passing by him suffer. I did the fourth salute. It is extremely rare for anyone to reach this level. Even in the history of our sect, the number of elusive demons can be counted on one hand. The Great Me is an elusive demon. Again, the heavenly demon accepted my bow. Finally, there is the stage of Sinma, the demonic god. The demonic god knows not only the suffering of all men but the suffering of all things. It is said that he can speak of the pain of all things in creation. But this is a theoretical stage. So I will just skip over that stage. In fact, no one has ever reached the stage of a demonic god. It was when I was trying to do the 5th salute. Stop. I stopped. Do it again. The 5th sword of the infernal heaven's demonic art was the path of poison. They were the movements of those who died from poison and addiction. I hadn't mastered the 5th sword yet. The heavenly demon said softly, "I told you to do it again." I bowed. Do it again. I bowed. Do it again. 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 There was sweat on my forehead. Cool sweat ran down my back. The heavenly demon's face remained calm. Do it again. Number of times to bow with death by poisoning in my heart, 336. Number of times to bow with death by illness in my heart, 189. I had to bow 510 times with death by blunt impact in my heart before the heavenly demon accepted my salute. I was sweating. I silently knelt down and bent my back. You're a straightforward child. The heavenly demon smiled. There are children who are honest from birth. There are also children who are born with a bad omen but become honest by their own will. Child of the outside world, you are definitely the latter. I wonder what kind of life you've led to come this far. Her smile was a little sad. What kind of life are you trying to lead, to become like this? The candlelight flickered. The light shook and the shadows shook. As it swayed, the shadow of the heavenly demon and my shadow overlapped. If the sun means life, then shadows mean pain. The thin shadow opened its lips. The outline of each human as they live their life is separate, but their pain overlaps again and again. Thus, humans are not one because they are alive, but because they feel pain. It was the doctrine of the shadows. If you say that you will share the pain with someone, you are saying that you will be with that person for a lifetime. Therefore, those who are hurt by everyone only want to be with everyone. Child. A doctrine with only one mouth that could share it, pass it on in this world. Gongja. That mouth was talking to me. People don't just decide who they leave scars on. They can also decide whose scars to wear. The common people you are trying to save will never be good. The crowd you have saved will never be honorable. The one you love will never be perfect, the shadow whispered. The whisper of the shadow carried the heat of the candle. Even so, if you want to be hurt by everyone, if you are willing to give them your bare skin, think about how they scratch you with their fingernails, how they will hurt you even if they hug you too tightly. Life is pain. But that is only human suffering. Bara, bara. Agabaraya. This is your heart's meaning and fire. Burn it, and see the shade of others. The candle wax dripped. The eighth infernal heaven is death by fire. It flowed down. Gongja. Bow with a burning heart. But you know that I'm the flame emperor. That's why you have to die for me.
Goodbye.
2. I bowed again. Deeply. The shadow was silent. 336 times for the poison. 189 to the illness. 510 for blunt impact. The words "do it again," which rang in the cave 1035 times, was not heard this time. She seemed to be satisfied with my single bow for death by incineration. I see. The traces where the candle wax flowed. A voice spread over the spot where that trace was made. The infernal heaven's last sword form. It is not set. It is a freestyle. From generation to generation, the sect leader engraves their own death on the last sword. So, the ninth sword of the infernal heaven's demonic art varies greatly from person to person. A place for one's own death. Bow with your death. While committing suicide 4,090 times, my neck hurt. My neck, stabbed with a dagger, hurt. My hands trembled. My arms shook. I was afraid that the blade would go crooked or miss because of the trembling and shaking. I was afraid that the pain would be prolonged if I stabbed myself wrongly. So, I wrapped green tape on the handle of the dagger. The green tape wrapped around the hilt was also wrapped around my right and left hands. It was fixed there. That way, I wouldn't tremble. I had regressed 4,050 days. But I died 4,090 times. I had to die. I almost gave up on the way. I had ran away from it for several days. However, I couldn't forgive that person. I didn't have the confidence I could forgive him and keep living. I wrapped up the green tape again. The slower my death, the blurrier my determination became. The blurrier my determination, the more I had to die. I stopped thinking of these useless things. I disregarded my hesitant thoughts. I desperately wanted to live, so I died desperately. Suicide. I drew it as the last picture in my heart and bowed to the heavenly demon. The shadow shook. It was the heavenly demon standing up from her seat. I realized it a bit late. When I realized it, the heavenly demon already put her hand on my shoulder. Gongja. Our shadows overlapped in the cave. You are my disciple. Yes. You are my disciple. Yes. I don't care where you come from. Wherever you go, wherever you are a disciple of the heavenly demon, so Baekhyang. Our doctrine is in your heart. Even if society is destroyed and the world ends, as long as your heart still beats, the infernal heavens will continue. I opened my mouth. Yes, Master. My neck hurt. Those were painful days. I finally knew it now. Chapter 79. The Scent of Snow. 2. After a long while, the heavenly demon and I were able to return to the party. The two of us were quiet. As we walked through the cave tunnel, the heavenly demon said only one thing. It's very dark ahead, so be careful where you step. I just answered, yes. With that, our conversation ended. When I peeked at her face, it seemed to be submerged in apprehension. What was the heavenly demon? No. What was Master thinking about? Character window. There was a saying that a disciple should not step on even the shadow of their master, but it was hard to withstand my curiosity. Could it be that I had shown her too much of my weakness, and now Master had become cautious? That wasn't what I wanted, though. Plus. Name, So Baekhyang. Favorability, 85. Favorite genre, martial arts. Hated genres, classical, mythology, history, fairy tales. Favorite characters, commoners, rival, disciple. Hated characters, oppressor, deceiver, playboy. Favorite plot, all-out match. Hated plot, running away, oblivion, meaningless death. Psychological state, here. If I calculate my remaining energy, I can live for 1 year and 6 months more by being frugal. 1.5 years. As I thought, it's difficult. Within 1.5 years, I must pass down everything to Gongja. Plus. Huh. My face tingled. I felt guilty for peeking into Master's heart. And not only that, I felt bashful. Also, a little touched. I wasn't sure what emotion it was, but my face felt very hot. Am I really weak against something like having people's favor and being recognized? I heard a snicker. Zombie. Today is a really good day. It's a lucky day. Of course, my feelings of being moved did not last for long. A not-human ghost jerk shattered it all. Well. No matter how different the world is, martial artists aren't that different from those in my Murim world. Still, it makes me feel good that I can read martial arts texts for the first time in a long time. Kaya. By the way. Did your ceremony go well? Huh? What's that? That's our look. You already look ugly, zombie, and you're making it uglier. You need to take care of your appearance. If my favorability rate could be shown right now, it would have immediately gone down by 10 points. Anyway, ghosts do not know about the human mind. Shiny just barely stops sobbing and looks up at the warrior. Shiny, who had been shivering since a while ago, finally stopped. As expected, a constellation knows the human mind and what it feels. My favorability for shiny rose by 30. Oh. You've returned, the venomous snake said to us. His one eye soon looked at me. Is the ceremony over now? Yes. I officially became a disciple of the demonic cult. Cool. Congratulations. So, how did Venomous Snake Nim become the Murim Lord's disciple? The venomous snake smirked and folded his arms. Well, somehow, it just happened. You said stuff like that earlier, too. What, do you want to hear all the details? If possible. The venomous snake looked at me with his arms crossed. He shook his head with an expression so guarded as if not even a needle could pierce him. I'm sorry, but it's impossible, the venomous snake said casually. I just asked him to teach me. Nothing really happened. Huh. Since our spar was also over, I opened the venomous snake's psychological status window. Sheesh. That nearly dead old man. No. Now he's my master. Anyway, he says his life is short and wants to give the heavenly demon a reason to live. How could I refuse and say no? And he's skilled. He's superior to me. I looked at the venomous snake, feeling as if I had been hit on the head. The venomous snake. He was a real man. Well, maybe it's because I lied, but I keep thinking about it. The Murim Lord and the heavenly demon sometimes spar against each other. I'd been thinking that they're sort of awesome since seeing that. So, since the two of us were sitting together, we started talking about martial arts. Then the Murim Lord suddenly said, "Whoa. Oi, you, is it true? How blessed is the outside world to have a genius like you." He seemed very astonished. As for me, I scratched the back of my head, thinking, it's not that much. Then the medicine king stepped in, asking why he was making such a fuss over that little thing, saying, This guy, the Chenmumun master, is a precious peer to me even though it looks like this. With his skill, character, and appearance, of course he is qualified to be one. The alchemist also blushed, saying, Yes. Chenmumun master is like an older bro, nothing. I didn't say anything. Anyway, the Chenmumun master is the top ranker in our world. He's even said to be an idol that people all over the world look up to. I think. Ahaha. I said something embarrassing. And she clasped her hands to her cheeks. With the banquet of facts suddenly pouring out of them, I had no choice but to look at the distant mountains. Then the Murim Lord nodded as if everything made sense. Hey, I have a request. As the greatest genius, please be my last student. This was so difficult. I just want to live quietly, but really, why is my life so? Okay. That was enough. The venomous snake. He was a real man. Death King. And demonic cult sect leader SSI. The best real man of this time shrugged as he said, I have one good news and one sad news for you. What is it? It was successful. It wasn't the venomous snake who answered my question. It was a more shaky voice, the voice of the alchemist. The alchemist was walking this way, wearing her thick glasses. The cure. I developed it. It was a success, Death King Nim. The reason I couldn't answer right away was not that I was impressed with the declaration that she completed it. The alchemist was a genius. I had no doubt that she could develop a cure, it was only a matter of time. In the meantime, I spent a lot of time learning about the infernal heaven's demonic art. If it was the alchemist, especially with the help of the medicine king, she would definitely be able to develop a cure. What? You made the medicine? Master looked surprised. Is that really true? If you are lying, say it now. I am generous enough to overlook a single lie. Yes. It's the truth, the alchemist said. Actually, I developed it yesterday. I observed it for an additional day because I had to see the results of the clinical trial. Clinical trial? What's that? It's to see if the cure works properly. The experimental subjects donated by Heavenly Demon Nim and Muram Lord Nim. I'm sorry. The faction leader. I looked at his progress for a day. The pharmacist seemed to be struggling to keep her face expressionless. It's been a long time since he died, so I couldn't revive him. The zombie virus. I confirmed that the contagion was gone, and his body became an ordinary corpse. Yes. There is nothing wrong with the cure. If that's true, isn't it a great occasion? Master was delighted. That's amazing. Even though the doctors and the Taoists all worked together, they couldn't defeat the disease. To find a solution with only 2 people, that's something that goes beyond talent. No. Thanks to the data provided by Death King Nim. There's no need to be modest. Heal the old man Axe Saint right now. Master grabbed the alchemist's hands. Master's joy could be vividly felt in her gestures and motion. That guy pretends to be strong and proud, but he's trembling. He doesn't have many days left. He must have known that and so took in a child of the outside world as his disciple. It must be God's compassion that let you develop the cure before the old man passed away. Yes. Of course, I'll treat him. That's why I'm here. Then, I opened my mouth. There is a problem with the cure. Isn't that so, boss? The alchemist hung her head. Her complexion was as dim as her voice. From the moment she said that she finished making the cure, the alchemist hadn't made eye contact with me. I had started to feel anxious from that point. No, there is no problem with the cure. After all, I'm the one who made it. It's perfect. But what? There are harmful effects to the abdomen. Patter. We heard the sound of light footsteps. Madhu. I also witnessed that horse-faced Taoist's body return to normal. Just in case, I grabbed 2 more juncture to look again, but the results were the same. There is no doubt about the efficacy of the medicine made by this maiden. The Muram Lord, the Axe Saint. The old man in a white uniform slowly walked over to us. But you know. The 2 of us are already half corpses. Our bodies have become corpses long ago, but we've been saving them by force. Master's face hardened. The Muram Lord stroked his beard in a forlorn manner. We skillfully defied the laws of heaven to survive. Now we must pay the price. It's been a long time since both of you were infected with the juncture disease. The alchemist opened her lips. If you haven't been infected yet, or if you were just infected, the cure and prevention will end with just 1 vaccine, but the 2 of you. The alchemist, with her head bowed, quickly moved her mouth. There is no abnormality above the point where the cervix meets the spinal column. After taking the cure, you'll return to normal as it was before the disease spread. However, below that point, what you are talking about is the origin of the disease, the pathogenesis. So, it's impossible to distinguish the takgi. In particular, the condition of the lower body was serious, the alchemist said. The passage through which your life energy moves is the same passage through which takgi spreads. In simple terms, you have to clean the hallway. The cure is not a meticulous tweezer but a dull broom. You can't separate the dust and grains of sand while sweeping the hallway with a broom. The hallway has so much dust piled up, especially the lower part of the abdomen. The lower part of the abdomen was the place where life energy accumulated. For martial artists, it was as precious as life itself. There, we have to clear everything. If you clear it up, Master said. What does it mean to clear it up? We have to get rid of it. The alchemist's voice was tight. We have to perform surgery. Are you saying you're going to get rid of the tumor attached to the abdomen? That much is okay. There may be a loss in energy, but that can be recovered quickly. No. I have to remove it completely. You don't have to doubt the success of the surgery. This type of surgery has been done before. I'm not a specialist, but the medicine king is skilled. I am also capable of providing support. So. She has great skill in medical procedures, the Murim Lord said, interrupting. I don't know much, but the doctors of the outside world are more skilled than the ones within the walls. It's amazing to watch from the side. Madhu. You should also look at it if you have the chance. Namgung-un. The Murim Lord coughed. I am going to have the procedure. It's only a handful of energy that I'll lose anyway. There's nothing to be sad about. I have no regrets. I'm glad that I can have a disciple in my old age. Even without my lower abdomen, I will have the mind to teach my pupil, and my disciple is a once-in-a-lifetime genius who understands 10 things if I tell him one. The Murim Lord looked at his longtime nemesis. We are martial artists. Martial arts is in the heart. If the heart remains, martial arts remain. Isn't that so, Baekhyang? Master could not answer. Throughout the night, the Murim Lord underwent surgery. Around dawn, the alchemist and the medicine king informed us that the operation was over. The operation was a success. At dawn, the snowfield contained the color of the shade. Master stood alone at the entrance to the cave, looking down at the shadowy world. Long black sleeves fluttered in the wind. The scenery was far away. But Master's back looked to be farther than the scenery. Master. Did the result of the operation come out? Yes. What happened? He's safe. Is that so? Yes. I see. Master's gaze, though focused, did not seem to be looking at anything in particular. Disciple. Yes. I wanted to cut down all the coldness in the world, Master said. That has been my wish since childhood. I resented the winter. The snow that fell in winter was something regretful for me. Why were there seasons in the world, and among the seasons, why did winter have to take people's lives? A world that had become covered by perpetual winter. The woman born with ice, snow, and shade hated the season that most resembled her. I was confident that I could punish those who froze the world, even if I could not cut down the coldness with one strike. I remember the days when I first appeared in the land of rivers and lakes. It was also midwinter then. I realized that something had changed about Master. Her sword. Master was holding a sword in her right hand. There was no guard. It was made only with a hilt and a blade. Unlike other swords that were transparent like mirrors, Master's sword was pitch black. It was a sword that refused to be transparent. It was my first time seeing it, but I could guess what the sword was. Bloody demonic sword. That's right. Master softly chanted. When I first appeared in the land of rivers and lakes, I tried something. It was the will of a young heart. I accepted the coldness of the world as a literal thing and wished to cut down the snowy mountains. Master exhaled. The breath shed at dawn was white. In the white sky, high mountain peaks rose. I couldn't even cut off the hem of it during those days, but Master raised her sword. What will happen now? I wonder. She swung the sword. It was a sluggish gesture. Master's sleeves were long, so it took a long time for it to follow her hand movements. When the black sleeves fluttered in the air, the time in the world seemed to have stopped. In the frozen air, Master's sleeves moved freely. Bareo, wish. Sword dance. Bareo, wish. Sword life. Agabareo, I have a wish. The swordswoman was burned up as she performed her sword dance. My heart is a candle. With that. Burn this place. The snowy mountain was cut. The snow peak, which did not bear trees nor reveal rocks, which had no meaning except for just being there, was cut. The screams of the snow-covered mountains resembled thunder. Following the echoing scream, a pure white explosion. The snowy mountain collapsed, starting from the peak, causing a wave of snow to fall, and the waves built upon each other and fell apart in layers. It continued to collapse. A blizzard created by a person, not the heavens, greeted the dawn. Master was out of breath. I could only cut the peak. I cut the mountain with my heart, but killing it with just my spirit is a far-off dream. This is the last stage of the great me. Disciple. Master looked back at me. One mountain was crumbling white. I will undergo the procedure. Chapter 80. The scent of snow. 3. Master did not undergo the surgery right away. I'm sorry. I just have to take a break. It was just after the Murim Lord's procedure ended. Both the alchemist and the medicine king were tired from performing the surgery. The alchemist collapsed and fell asleep, and the medicine king went to the hot springs with his jaw hanging loose, clearly out of it. Master frowned and looked down at the Murim Lord. Old man. I heard you lost your lower abdomen, so I came to see it myself. My first visitor since I've become a patient is incredible. Fine, come and feast your eyes. How do you feel? The Murim Lord, who was lying down on the mat, and cackled. I feel light. I feel like I just might ascend. You're full of *T. You can't even turn over a new leaf, let alone ascend. The Murim Lord smirked. Well, your mug looks lighter, too. Madhu. Have you also decided to get the surgery? Yes. Master sighed. I just spent a year's worth of energy while swinging my sword. It was the last time in my life that I could play with my chi like that. Ho ho. The Murim Lord's eyes sparkled. It must have been a magnificent sight. How regrettable that I couldn't see it while I was lying in bed. So? What did you do? I tried to cut the winter, but I could not. That stage of deathly desperation is far away for me. Oh, that's a shame. Well. Cheer up. Isn't that an unprecedented stage? If it were as easy as that, the world's history would have been upset at least 6 times. The Murim Lord cackled again. Looking down at the old man's laughter, Master opened her lips. Namgung-un. You are. I don't regret it at all. The Murim Master flatly cut her off. The world fell to pieces a long time ago, but we lasted for 3 years by a strange fate. It was a strange fate that the outside world's doctors could treat us. That I could have a final disciple, that the righteous sect that I thought would end would continue, all of that is some strange act of fate. If all these strange coincidences overlap, isn't this what you call a miracle? I am merely feeling grateful for this miracle. The only thing that I regret is this. We've never been able to conclude our war of good and evil, Madhu. Well, there is no such thing as a perfect life. Our disciples will take care of it. Yes. They will. Master smiled a little. It was a lonely smile. However, Master's eyes as she looked at me held a strong faith in them. If this is the end of my life, I shall accept it. It wasn't a happy acceptance. But it was close to it. No matter how sweet candy is, it must melt in your mouth before you can swallow it. Maybe Master was carefully thinking about the end of her life. I nodded. Master. I have to go somewhere for a moment. Where in the world can you go with the outside in that state? Think about it as your disciple going out for some air. Don't worry. I feel more worried because you said that. Master quietly lowered her eyebrows. You're not trying to get involved in something perilous, are you? I will definitely be back before Master's procedure is over. I covered my fist with a hand in front of me and bowed. The way my hands were probably looked quite awkward, but I put my heart into the action. Please get treated comfortably, Master. When you open your eyes again, your unworthy disciple will be waiting. Master accepted this. Now, it was time for me to give Master her life back. I exited the cave and crossed the snowy field. As I crossed the snowfield, I pictured how this world looked before it was destroyed. The Murim. A martial arts forest. Was there a thick forest over there? Gango. Rivers and lakes. Did water flow over there? Milord. It was the other side of the snowfield. I have executed the order. In the middle of the snowfield, the place where the trees had grown and the river flowed, Preta was kneeling on one knee. Did you find them all? Yes, Preta said, her head bowed. White snow was like dirt on her hair. The snowflakes proved how long she had been kneeling. As our Lord ordered. I had ordered Preta to do something the other day. There will be Juncture that can use martial arts in the vicinity who are alone. Find them. Find the demonic cult members in their black uniforms. Find the chivalrous fighters in their white uniforms. During the last 3 years of the great battle of good and evil, many Juncture have gone missing. The corpses of the warriors were swept away by the blizzard and the snow and the wind. There were 439 Juncture from the demonic cult that were lost. From the righteous sect, 478 Juncture. In total, 917 people were missing. That wasn't all. 560 members of the demonic cult were not lost, but are in the vicinity. Members of the righteous sect that are in the vicinity, 521. In total, 1998. All of them. Preta bowed a little deeper. Over her thin shoulder. I have gathered them here for you. Juncture were lined up in the snowfield. My regiment of skeletons held the Juncture captive on both sides. It was morning. There was no way that the weak Juncture could move in the sunlight, but even if the clouds covered the sun, their battle formation would not fall apart. Good. You did well. I nodded. Now, bring the Juncture to me one by one. Yes. As you command. The skeletons dragged over the cold corpses. By the time the first one reached me, I was already holding the holy sword. Winter was cold. But my blade that sliced through the winter air was colder. Baraya. The wind blew. Just as the rain was collected in a lake, the wind blew into the valley in a rage. As it was collected in the valley, the sound of the wind seemed to resemble human voices. Baraya. Far away. The wind shouted the sutra. The sound, as it dropped down, resembled the sound of all humans. I heard the sound of the wind that was rolling down and swung my sword. Agabaraya. And cut decisively. The Juncture's head split. Huff. I cut and cut the corpses, without any rest. As the Jiangshurs' heads burst, fragments and debris splattered all over. Next. Yes. The skeletons quickly brought over the next corpse. Preda orchestrated the army of bones into moving in the way that was needed. As I fell into a steady pace, Preda quickly presented the corpses to me, and when I felt tired, she slowed down a bit. Faster. I'll finish them all before sunset today. Yes, my lord. Like the flowing wind, we continued our executions. A total of 1998 corpses. No matter how immobile or subordinate they were, it wasn't easy to cut them with a single strike. Huff, huff, hoo. I had been thinking about it all along. How can I reach the perfect ending? What kind of ending will ensure that master is completely satisfied? How can a person's life become complete? I wanted to achieve it without a single lie. So, I came to a conclusion. It isn't enough for me to be her disciple. When master goes crazy, that's the bad ending. Definitely a poor result. But, was it really a happy ending with just the introduction of a disciple? Would master be happy and satisfied with this ending? No. Normal ending. Introduction of a disciple is by no means a complete ending. It barely satisfied the criterion of an ending. Even if I declared that it was over with this, the librarian, the constellation, would probably accept it, and the 22nd floor would be cleared as it is. Huff. Hoo. But I would never be satisfied. My lord, please stay strong. There's only half of them left now. Shiny cheers for the warriors' struggle at full power. The sun went down. The sky turned red, and the snowfield was dyed violet. Hoo, huff. Hoo. I don't know how long it took. 7 hours? 8 hours? It should have been about that much. Anyway, I swung my sword without stopping. My clothes were drenched with sweat and bits of corpses that I had cut down. The last 10 are coming. My lord. 10 people. I looked in front of me. As expected, only 5 members each from the demonic cult and the righteous sect remained. I took a deep breath and clenched the hilt tightly. A little more. There are 5. A little bit more. Last. This is the last one. I smashed the head of a demonic cult member in a black uniform. The Jiangshur's frozen brain shattered like ice. Finally, after cutting down the 1998th Jiangshur, I gave way and my knees fell into the snow. Huff, huff. Huff.
Whew.
You've worked hard, my lord. You have done a great amount of work. Preda looked like she was ready to jump with joy. It was expected since she had also suffered alongside me for over half the day. Ever since I collected her as a part of my shadow, Preda had always been brusque. It was the first time I had seen such honest joy coming from her. What are you so happy about? I asked after my breathing had stabilized. Then, Preda realized that her face had been showing her emotions for a while and quickly returned to her normal cold expression. When I thought of the scene that my lord would show, my heart naturally felt full. I haven't been able to see my lord's master in person, but I think she will be happy. And not just a simple joy, but really, greatly. I guess. I smiled, stretching out in the snow. I hope she'll be pleased. The cure was developed. I was recognized as master's disciple. Finally, I even obtained permission from Bei Hurayong. It wasn't easy getting all the way here. Finally. I was ready to see the ending of this world. A week had passed. I feel somewhat empty without the lower abdomen energy. For a week, Master and the Murim Lord recuperated. Fortunately, there was no need to find a separate spot for that. The cave here with its open-air bath served as the best vacation resort for recovering. Even if I regulate my breath, my energy isn't piling up. It's quite uncomfortable not to have chi. This is the pain of the desperate people who can't do martial arts. Personally, I'm more comfortable now. Honestly, I didn't feel like I was alive even though I was living. I had to block the taki every day, make sure my heart was still beating. Oh my, oh my. The Murim Lord sighed, sinking further into the hot spring. Because I can breathe without thinking, I feel like I'm living a little now. And all this is thanks to the children of the outside world. Why, you did well hanging in there for so long. The alchemist hesitantly ended Master's examination. Today's treatment is over. Both of you are fine. We could even say that you're cured. Even if the juncture were to bite you again, you won't become infected. Thank you. Master raised her hand and stroked the alchemist's head. Flinch. The alchemist briefly cowered back. That old man and I are obliged to you for saving our lives. It's not easy to help a stranger. Oh, not at all. I only did what was natural. It's amazing that you think that was something natural. It is even more amazing that you went through and saw it till the end, what you thought was natural. Child. Even at your young age, you are great. No, that is. The alchemist couldn't move as Master continued to pat her head. Although she was very embarrassed, the alchemist didn't seem to hate it. They looked like close sisters, and watching them made me feel happy. But I couldn't be content with just this. Boss. Does this mean it's all right for both of them to move around now? Why, yes. Just in case, I had them recuperate for a longer period. Even if they move around and exercise, there won't be a problem. Okay. Master. Murim Lord Nim. Will you walk with me for a little while? A walk? Master tilted her head. I'm delighted that I can get some fresh air with my student. But why would you bring around this old coot? Gongja. Even a pleasant walkway becomes a filthy road if you go with that old man. Well. If it's a walk with the old demon and the young demon, it's me who would rather refuse. You dumb cultists can go by yourselves. Their reaction was to be expected. No. I shook my head quietly. Both of you have to come. Master and the Murim Lord looked at each other. They seemed to have noticed that I wasn't suggesting a normal walk. Their expression showed that they didn't know what it was about but were interested. I understand. My disciple must have some secret plans. I don't want to walk with this old fool, but I'm willing to be tricked by my dull-witted disciple. Well. Since a baby demon plotted it, it's probably no big deal. I don't expect much at all. We left the cave. It was cold. Just like it was on the first day we fell into the Chronicles of the Heavenly Demon, it was still winter. What was different from that day was that neither Master nor the Murim Lord could use their chi. They wouldn't be able to use it forever. With my right hand, I held Master's hand. With my left, I held the hand of the Murim Lord. That way, I could use aura to warm them both. Master. Yes. Murim Lord Nim.
Yeah.
The two of you had said this. The only regret you have is that you were unable to conclude your battle of good and evil. That it's unfortunate, but it's a problem that we who have become the disciples will have to resolve. The two leaned against my warmth and crossed the cold winter road. But I thought of something else. Was it because it was the first time they were going out in a week? Or was it their bodies, which they had to use without their inner energy, that was unfamiliar? The steps of Master and the Murim Lord were a little clumsy. The great battle of good and evil is the ritual between you two. Even if I and Chenmumun Master fight, it is just a normal spar, it can never be a great battle. Only a spar between the two of you can be the great battle. It is because it was you two who have held up the demonic sect and the righteous sect up to now. Disciple. Thank you. We got to the snowfield. Thank you for not giving up for 3 years. The place where corpses were once spread like a forest. The forest of silhouettes. Now, this place was nothing more than a clear snowfield. Thank you for coming to gather the juncture again every morning. If you had given up, if they had been treated as mere corpses and left to disappear, I would never have been able to recover them. The life that you both lost. The scenery you should enjoy. To return them, I slowly opened my mouth. 100 Ghosts Reincarnation. My shadow spread over the snow. Your skill is being activated. In the shade, figures rose like snowmen. 1, 2, many. Some shadows wore black robes. Some shadows had their white sleeves fluttering. They gradually took shape in human forms and looked down at their hands, amazed. Disciple, just what? However, none of them would be as surprised as Master and the Murim Lord. You can think of it as a dream. It's okay to just look over it, saying that it's an after effect of losing the energy in your lower abdomen. It's all right to assume that I learned a strange martial art to recall the memories and bodies of the dead for a while and make them the same as before. Master. Murim Lord Nim. The 100 Ghosts reincarnation was complete. The demonic cult is not over yet. Elite members of the demonic cult. 1,000 people. War has not yet forgotten chivalry, and chivalry has not forgotten war. Elites of the righteous sect. 1,000 people. The demonic cult will not end because of the juncture, and the righteous sect too will not be eaten by mere corpses. The true great battle of good and evil. That was what the two hoped for. If the demonic cult disappears from the world, it is only by the blade of the righteous sect. If the sect is to be destroyed, it must be because of the wicked fingertips of the demonic sect. As the master of the demonic cult said and as the leader of the righteous sect desires. I smiled. Then, I covered my fist with a hand and bowed. Fight to be the final master of this world. Chapter 81. The world's shabbiest. 1. Murmuring sounds flowed all over the snowfield. What the hell just happened? I'm alive. Is this heaven? The members of the demonic cult. The people of the righteous sect. The last thing they remembered was their own death. They may have memories of being bitten by Jiangshi, but they had no memories of turning into Jiangshi. From their point of view, years had passed in the blink of an eye. But there were also people who had been fully aware of the past 3 years. Master stared at the snowfield blankly like she couldn't believe her eyes. Disciple. Yes, Master. You're not simply from beyond the walls, are you? No, you must be from a completely different world. This sort of thing is not the sort of sorcery that a mere human can do. It's an act out of some absurd legend. Or, did I perhaps die and arrive at paradise without realizing it? No. That's not the case. I shook my head quietly. These people, like you, Master, can no longer use martial arts. They're very weak compared to when they were alive. However, this is not paradise, and those people have memories of their lives. Please go and check it for yourself. Please go now, Master. Tap. Master stepped onto the snow. Tap, tap. Her footsteps were very light. They were the footsteps of a person whose lower abdomen chi was taken out. They were the footsteps of a martial artist who lost her inner energy. They were the footsteps of a woman who struggled against a disease for 3 years. The heavenly demon. My master. She approached the cultists with those light footsteps. The cultists were still trying to make sense of the situation. First we have to check the current situation. Everyone stay calm. Send a reconnaissance. Blood Guard leader. They stopped. The cultists flinched. A group of 12 or so cultists fell into silence. They then looked at Master, their leader, with a confused look. Heavenly demon. Master's breath thickened, becoming whiter. Blood Guard leader. It really is you. The silence was contagious. At first, only 10 or so were silent. But when 10 people shut their mouths, the dozens of people around them shut their mouths, and the hundreds of people around those dozens shut their mouths as well in a cascade. The snowfield was silent. Demon Lord Woliong. Yes. Flame Ghost Demon. Yes, my liege. Sword Demon. At your command. One by one, Master began to call the names of the cultists. The cultists who were called did not ask any questions. They just immediately knelt down. Crunch. Crunch. As they all knelt down, the snow beneath them compressed. I had lost you all. Master reached out her hand. I lost you, again and again. Master stroked one of the cultists' cheek. She patted it. My children. Her fingers trembled. Seeing their master tremble like so, the cultists hurriedly bowed their heads. This wasn't something that they should see. It was their way of showing their devotion to her. 1,000 members of the cult all turned their gaze to the floor. It wasn't just the demonic cult members that were in shock, of course. Oh ho. The old monk stroked his beard. I must have died in the cave and crossed the river. When I closed my eyes, there is no nirvana, no grave, just this snowfield. Monk. And there is also this common man mixed in among us. Oh ho. Even if I close my eyes, I must still mix with this person. What does the Buddha want from this monk? Seeing how you're just talking *T, you really are the monk. The Murim Lord ran and hugged the old man. I finally realized who the old man was. He was the Shaolin head monk, the one who endured the longest after Master and the Murim Lord. You came back. You're alive. My friend, you came back to us. I am not your friend.
Ah.
This is undoubtedly a miracle from the Jade Emperor. I hear the sound of a dog eating grass. In other words, it was complete and utter nonsense. Don't dirty the ears of this monk, commoner. In the first place, I should never have fallen for your temptation to fight against the demonic path. It's better to quietly join the temple.
Ah.
My happiness from seeing you cooled as soon as you talked. It really is the monk I know. I just want to punch you in the face. The demonic cult members were quiet, and while the righteous sex fighters were noisy with chatter. They were experiencing this reunion in their own way. Time passed. It was Master who first turned her head to look at me. Master and I exchanged glances. Her eyes were dark. And in her eyes, her heart was reflected. My own heart was smeared, engraved with her feelings. Master opened her mouth. Her mouth opened, and she spoke to the Murim Lord. I am So Baekhyang of the demonic cult. The Murim Lord, who was having a small discussion with his sect members, stopped. The Murim lord let his peers go from his embrace and stared at Master from afar. Master bowed. I am the heavenly demon. Maybe today is the delusion of a blind man, but that is all right. It was midday. It's okay if I am just a sick patient who is daydreaming. The snow in this field was not known as the perpetual snow because it did not melt in the sun. It was called that because even as it melted, more snow continued to build on top of it. It's all right if this is just a dream as the world goes to sleep. After all, life is originally an illness that we live through, and the world is the dream that we all share. For humans who wish to remain pure white under the blazing sun, it wasn't enough that they were born white. They had to endlessly spread the white color over the world. They needed the determination to break, be broken, and scattered over and over again. I haven't forgotten the name of the disease I was trying to get. I haven't lost the fever of my dreams yet. So I haven't let go of any people yet, and I haven't let go of the world. Baraya. The name of the disease, not the martial arts, proves my place, and the fever of my dreams, not my internal energy, is proof of who I am. The sound of breaking snow. I am here, and as long as I stay here I will continue to be me. Even if it melts, it falls again. I am the main seat of the demonic cult. Master recited the declaration of war. I request our 990th battle. Everywhere, it was silent. The noisy righteous sect suddenly became quiet. The oldest of them and the youngest of them, they were all last heroes of the Murim world. They came here thinking that it would be the last battle of the Great War. How could they act rashly? If their last words were their wills and testaments, they wanted the words to be the will of the righteous sect. And the people of the righteous path turned to the one who represented the will of the sect. Murim Lord. Namgung family. The old man bowed. Taesang family head. Namgung Un. I am the Axe Saint. 1,000 demonic cult members and 1,000 righteous sect members faced each other. Your demonic cult made the screams of the common folk into your doctrine. The screams turned to revenge, and the revenge turned to genocide, painting the world red with blood. Blood-stained spirits, full of vengeance. You've turned the heavens and the earth red, but you still pretend to be the weak. The one who had risen as the Lord of the Murim world, with his own voice, explained the difference between the demonic path and the righteous path. You ceaselessly cry and grab at the hem of the heavenly demon. You beg her to take your place, to take on the evils of the world for you. And as you grabbed onto her sleeves, it became clear that you are weak and pitiful people. The old Lord bellowed. Wrong. You too have hands and feet. How long will you dwell on the evils of the past? The Buddha said that if a tree wants to bear fruit, it must throw away its flowers. But what are you doing? You sell your pain like a florist sells flowers. In response, a group from the demonic cult growled. The cultists grabbed the hilts of their swords. Their malice rose and killing intent bloomed. Standing against them was the righteous sect's fighters, ready to fight. Neither side would have any chi, but the air in the snowfield turned savage. Well. The corner of Master's mouth tilted upward. I suppose this means you accept the challenge. Of course. To surrender, or to the death? To the death. I accept. The two fighters broke their stances. Shying. At the same time, 1,000 demonic cultists and 1,000 righteous sect fighters drew their swords. It was midday. 2,000 blades shone brightly in the sunlight. Children of the demonic cult. Master clenched her fist. You can think of today as a dream or a hallucination. Baraya. 1,000 cultists cried all at once. Perhaps this is all just a vain dream. Baraya. If so, shouldn't we live like it's a dream? Agabaraya. Our hearts are candles. Burn this place. For the demonic cult. For the common man. Master burst into laughter. Kill them all. The war began. 1,000 cultists roared and ran like beasts. There was no clever footwork. There were no interesting techniques. They rushed like beasts and bit like beasts. It was their war according to their doctrine. You hypocrites! I am Demon Lord Woliong, the first rank of the 4 demon lords of our sect. Taste my blade. The demonic cult Shadow Corps Squadron. Squadron Leader. Demon Lord Woliong. I am Hyungong Jin, the faction leader of the Mudong Buddhists. I see there's no shortage of worthy opponents. Mudong Buddhist Faction. Faction Leader. Hyungong Jin. The 2 men clashed with each other as they yelled. The only courtesy between them was their self-introductions. The fight itself was brutal. Hrop! Demon Lord Woliong punched Hyungong Jin with the hilt of his sword. Puk. Teeth. Blood. White shrapnel exploded and red liquid splattered.
Ooh!
Hyungong Jin yelled, revealing his broken teeth. Then he lifted his fingers and stabbed Demon Lord Woliong's eyes. Puk. With the popping sound. Demon Lord Woliong was overcome with laughter. The Buddhists' cries and the cultists' laughter intertwined. Another pair of opposites was beside the 2 of them. Of the 4 demon lords. First rank. Flame Ghost Demon. I will take your head. The demonic cult's memorial squadron. Squadron Leader. Flame Ghost Demon. May Buddha have mercy. I am called Jomyong. Shaolin Temple. Chief Monk. Monk Jomyong. With respect to the head monk, I, the first rank of the 4 demon lords, will allow you to attack me 3 times first. The Buddha will surely remember your respect. At the words of the flame ghost demon, Monk Jomyong immediately attacked. He wrapped prayer beads around his fist and swung it. The flame ghost demon, who said he would allow him 3 attacks, immediately ducked down and headbutt the monk's stomach. Coo! Monk Jomyong groaned, then scoffed. You said you were yielding the first 3 hits? Did you really believe me? Do I look like I believed you? Yes. Drip. The sound of flowing blood interrupted his words. It looks like you did. The flame ghost demon crumpled to the ground. His nose bone was broken. At the moment when the flame ghost demon headbutted him, Monk Jomyong lifted his knee up as if he had expected it to happen. Looking at the flame ghost demon, whose face was stained from his nosebleed, Monk Jomyong happily stroked his beard. My acting skills have not gone rusty yet. You piece of...
Shh!
*T. I still have 2 more hits to go. Holding both ears of the flame ghost demon, Monk Jomyong repeatedly struck him with his knee. Similarly, the flame ghost demon hit the monk's knee with his forehead. Crack! It was the sound of the skull breaking a knee cartilage. Kuh! Monk Jomyong grabbed his knee in pain and hopped around. Kuhahahaha. Those guys. They're fighting like common thugs without their chi. This is their skill. Amazing. The true faces of these righteous sect bastards are being exposed to the world. What a wonderful day. The demonic cult's assassination squadron. Squadron Leader. Sword Demon. You truly are vulgar. Mtwa Buddhist Faction. Elder. Thousand Sword Nanwa. The 2 swordsmen clashed with their swords. Clang! As their swords hit, Coo. Ooh. Both sides screamed at the same time and clasped their blades. Neither side could handle the impact caused by the collision of their blades. But neither let go of their swords. The sword demon grinned, baring his teeth. Fuck. Stop being stubborn and just let go. Thousand Sword Nanwa replied through gritted teeth. That's what I was going to say. The two looked each other in the eye and struck again. Clang. A breathless scream, then clang. The sound of swallowing unnecessary hope, clang. Hands and shoulders trembled. Both of them bled from where their grips had been torn. The blood that flowed from their lips and their grasps mixed together. But again, neither of them let go of their swords. The white uniform fluttered. The black robe shook. The sunlight fell over them, casting shadows on the field. Between the sun and the shadow, the righteous sect and the demonic cult clashed. Blood burst. For the demonic cult. For the common man.
Ah!
Die. All of you, die. You phony bastards, come at me. A monochrome world. It was not splendid martial arts that flowed vividly there. It was only the red blood of humans. Huff. Ahaha. Among it was a particularly red smile. Ha, ahahaha. She was truly howling with laughter. There really are a lot of righteous sect kids. Master was shouting. Good. Come at me. Let us match our swords. A black shade ripped through the righteous sect's people. The sun seemed to rise and set at least 10 times faster. The movement of the woman who suffered from disease for 3 years, unable to use her chi, stood out against the warriors who also could not use the same martial arts. This is unfair. Master laughed. Head monk of the Shaolin sect. Did you think you could kill the great me with that meager strength? You horse-faced Taoist. How arrogant to think you could withstand this cult's power. These words were familiar to me. Empty song is flooded with the grief overflowing from the world. The heaven and earth's grudge burns the mountain. The demonic cult is the peak of the Murim world, and I am the peak of the demonic cult. Are you qualified to deal with a god among gods? However, Master herself was unfamiliar with these words. You shall not pass. Lackeys of the righteous path. Master yelled. Nam Gung Un. Sword clashed with sword and flesh bumped against flesh, but Master's cry pierced through all these sounds. Where is Nam Gung Un? Master laughed and yelled again. Call the Namgung family and the Taesang family. Summon the Murim Lord here. No matter how dense the forest is nor how vast the sky, there is only one person who will receive the sword of my great self under this heavenly world. For demon lords. Bring Namgung Un in front of me. The sound of her laughter was red and ecstatic. The old man walked step by step into a world that was turning redder. I remember the first day of the war. The Murim Lord took off his shirt. The winter air was cold. The cold would be crushing because the Murim Lord could not use internal energy, but he seemed to embrace the cold. Muscles that were as dry as bones stiffened. We couldn't come to a conclusion that day, so the great battle continued on to the second day. We couldn't finish it on the second day, so it was reserved for the third day. In the end, we started off wrong. When I think about it now, I should have used all my energy from the start. Who? The Murim Lord took a deep breath. Then he straightened up and beckoned with his hand. Come on. Madhu. Today, luck is on my side. The Murim Alliance. Lord. Axe Saint. Luck, you say. Good. Crunch. Master stepped on the snow. Your luck today will be your doom. Demonic cult. Cult leader. Heavenly demon. They breathed in. The two stared at each other. A half breath. The two walked closer. When the two breaths met, their hands attacked each other as well. White. Flurries of snow whipped through the air. Black. Hair fluttered. Red. Blood splattered.